Hey, all you comic book readers and true believers, it's Tuesday, and I'm your ever-loving blue-eyed comic book guy, Mitch Harmon. You guys know what's up, Mitch's Picks. For Marvel Comics, Absolute Carnage, Symbiote of Vengeance, one-shot, written by Ed Brisson, art done by Juan Frigeri. This is a one-shot spinning out of the Absolute Carnage stuff. The events in this actually take place after Absolute Carnage 1, so before you read this, definitely read the Absolute Carnage number 1. This book takes place in some, I want to say South American town or whatever. Alejandra, can't remember her last name, but she was a spirit of vengeance at one point in time, and she's been tasked with trying to protect this small town. She thought she was in there to help them out. And this was like way back in 2011, Ghost Rider, by the way. Thought that she was there to help them out, ended up hurting more people, and now she's become the Guardian Phantasma, basically the guardian ghost of this small town. But Carnage, going around collecting the codexes, is after Alejandra because back in the Rick Remender stuff, the symbiote actually bonded with the Spirit of Vengeance, and now there's a codex on to the Spirit of Vengeance, and Alejandra is the target, I guess you could say, by Carnage in this. Danny Ketch is just trying to live his life, living in working at a bar, and is visited by the astral projection of Johnny Blaze, who is the current leader of hell, the owner of hell. I'm not really sure. He's just trying to run hell, but basically, kind of spinning out of the events that happened in the most recent Avengers storyline. This is just a one-shot. There's nothing that really kind of comes after this. This does kind of change a little bit of the things that are happening in the Ghost Rider universe, but since there's not really an ongoing, there's not really going to be any major things that you need to follow for any Ghost Rider stories. However, this is playing into more of the Absolute Carnage stuff. Plus, even if you're just a fan of the Ghost Rider stuff, it kind of gives you a little slight history of the Ghost Rider's past and talks about maybe the different types of Ghost Rider. I recommend picking this one up if you're just trying to keep up with the Absolute Carnage, but like I said, it's just a good read anyways, guys. Check it out. From DC Comics, DC Year of the Villain, The Riddler, one-shot, written by Mark Russell, art done by Scott Godlewski. This is coming from the Year of the Villain stuff. Another one-shot, just like the Black Mask that came before it. This is kind of an origin story of Riddler, but it also takes place in the modern day time for this whole DC Year of the Villain stuff. Riddler is wondering why everyone's going around getting these little presents from Lex Luthor, but he hasn't heard a word from him whatsoever. And him and King Tut are actually discussing about how they're going to make it big, I guess, become popular once again. All they need is another really awful gimmick of mazes and whatnot. That is until Luthor comes to Riddler one night and is there in person, gives him nothing, more of a lecture than anything else, and Riddler tries to figure out exactly what it is that Lex trying to tell him, telling him that he's more than the sum total of all the different parts of what he's about, his gimmicks, I guess you could say. This is a one-shot diving into the Riddler's past and the present, and actually laying some groundwork for some stuff coming in the future with the Riddler, possibly changing the Riddler as we know it as well. Like I said, this is just a one-shot, but if you guys are interested in the DC Year of the Villain stuff, I highly recommend picking this up. Even if you're not and you're just a fan of the Riddler, it's a good read, y'all. Check it out. From Udon Publishing, Street Fighter, Akuma vs. Hell, number 1. Written by Ken Sui Chong, art done by Joe Vreens. This is a one-shot spinning out of the events basically right after Darkstalkers versus Street Fighter. After the events of that, Akuma decided to stay in Makai, I believe is it. Basically, it's hell, and he decided to stay there to try to train to get himself stronger, fighting against the denizens of hell to possibly upgrade himself to where he can mesh perfectly well with his negative energy and become, I forget exactly what the name is, but he basically becoming the ultimate power of negativity power, I suppose. Along the way, though, he runs into a familiar face, I should say, fighting against the zombies and the giant fire golems and the like. He sees one familiar face, a person that he's met in his past, a person that challenges him to this very day. I don't want to give exactly away who it is, but it is an interesting story. Even if you're not a huge fan of what has been going on in the Street Fighter Darkstalkers universe for Udon, it's just a really cool story to read about Akuma fighting the denizens of hell. It is just a one-shot, but if you're a fan of the Akuma stuff, or you just want to see what keeps going on with the Udon Street Fighter stuff, this is the one pickup, guys. Check it out. For Marvel Comics, King Thor, #1, written by Jason Aaron, art done by Asad Ribic. This is a mini-series. This is actually finishing off Jason Aaron's run on the Thor, Mighty Thor, Thor, God of Thunder, all of that stuff compiled together. This is the conclusion. If you guys have not been following Thor, for those of you who have not been following the Jason Aaron Thor, he started on the God of Thunder series and introduced this character called the God Butcher Gore, and introduced old King Thor as well, Odin Thor, whatever you want to call him. This story is taking place in that very distant future, whereas the God Butcher Gore, it was killed in the God of Thunder series. Now the new Necro that has been bonded to is now Loki, and now Thor must find his granddaughters and have them help him fight against this Necro Loki of the future, who all he wants to do, is just destroy the universe. Ashes to ashes, basically. Wonderful art by Asad Ribic, easily one of my favorite artists that is out there. Has a very storytelling book style to his art style. And Jason Aaron has been writing a phenomenal story of Thor. It's kind of sad to see come to an end after these 11 years that he's been doing it, but this is going to be the big epic conclusion. It's only going to be 4 issues too, so it's going to be short and sweet, and I highly recommend picking this up, even if you aren't a fan of the Thor, just to get the conclusion of this saga, guys. Check it out. For Marvel Comics, Spider-Man, The Mini Host of Carnage, trade paperback, written by Howard Mackey, Tom Bagley. I mean, there's a ton of people attached to this. This is a paperback that is a in-depth story, or not really in-depth, but it basically gives you the mini hosts of Carnage. Basically, the many people that have been bonded to the Carnage symbiote that is bonded to the people. It goes as far back as to Maximum Carnage days, but going all the way up to the more modern day stuff that Cullen Bunn was kind of writing in his Venom saga and so on and so forth. Kim Jacinto did the art on the, I want to say it was a Venom and Carnage series back in the day. Anyways, this is basically a great thing to pick up if you guys are kind of slightly confused about what's going on in the Absolute Carnage. This is going to pull in a lot of characters that they're talking about in that main series. Even if you're not really interested in what's going on in the Absolute Carnage, it's still a great read for just Spider-Man fans, and it got plenty of Carnage and Venom in this paperback as well. And it's a pretty oversized book too. It's $40, but you've got, I want to say it's like 14 books in here. I mean, it's a hefty, thick book, so definitely worth your while, guys. Check it out. That's all my picks for this week, everyone. Next Thursday on the 19th, we're going to have this new card game coming out called Argent Saga. It's going to be here, like I said, on the 19th at 6 p.m. So definitely come by and check that out, guys. We're going to be having Hunter running the game and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. So please come on by and check it out. That's all my picks for this week, everyone. Keep reading your comics, true believers. See you guys next week.